Hello and welcome to another MrMatchat. This week, as you guys might be able to tell, is Rogue Legacy, a game created by Celador Games, which was released around about June this year. It's been out for a little while, and with this current Steam sale, I went and picked it up because I've heard good things about it. Which the best way to describe Rogue Legacy is it's a rogue-esque platformer. I mean, it's in the name. You kind of know what you're getting into. And the way the game is focused all about is you go through a randomly generated castle until you keep going, trying to get as much gold as possible, defeat all the bosses of different areas, and then when your character dies, then you get a new character and you go through a different castle, but the gold you got from before you can spend on upgrades, but then when you enter the castle you lose all that gold. So it's all about like trying to get the best run possible, and there's a collection of different classes. There's like a lich, there's the standard ones they have, there's warrior, and then you can unlock Viking, you can unlock a mage, there's like a rogue, stabby, and then you upgrade each of the classes. So the Viking becomes like the Viking King / Queen because you have different genders. But one of the biggest elements of the game is the randomly generation trait sort of thing. So each time you create a new character, they can have a mixture of traits, from being scared of chickens, they can have nostalgia, which means everything has like a old frame on it. They can have vertigo, which flips everything upside down. There's a load of different combinations sort of thing, and it's all sort of, most of them impacts the way the game plays sort of thing. And I've really enjoyed it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty bad at it from all of it. I've got up to like level 25 or just above that sort of thing, and I haven't defeated any of the bosses yet. And I feel like I've come quite a fair way from when I first started. But sometimes you get in sort of a rut in which getting enough gold. Sometimes it's just brutal sort of thing. For example, I've been trying to run the miner whenever I can, because a miner is a class that gets more gold. So they get a percentage more gold as they go through, but they're also the weakest. And then every time I do that, I normally get thrown into one where there's a load of enemies, and I just can't deal with it in the same way as I would with others. And it's got this thing. Sometimes you can be the difficulty is random, because sometimes you might get really lucky and you just might have a load of like really easy rooms and just to go through, but other times it might just completely screw you over with like traps and proper like spike things and things like that, and there's not much you can really do. It's like I said with my complaint of fast and light, it's that random generation that sometimes you can't control it, and the only choice is really just to die with a really bad score and a tiny amount of gold. But the game is quite forgiving. You never really feel like you're straight back into the action. You still keep your gold, and there's the way they have the upgrade system is it's not long until you're back to where you were sort of thing, or along that sort of stage. So they've done it quite well. Although I don't know personally, I don't know in what I've played through is I don't know if they've got the balance of the classes completely right, because I don't know, it may be just my playstyle, but with a Viking I've got to the stage now where it's one-hit kills for most of the early level creatures sort of thing, and it just smacks through things, and it has a lot of health, and I never really use the spells. It's just there's not really one that I find is always best used, unless there's always a moment for like, oh shit, I've got spells, and I just spam it to kill a monster sort of thing, but I'm never really using it. And I feel like the Viking is considerably better than the mage, because with the mage each kill gets you your mana back, but you tend to be losing mana quicker than you're regaining it because the spells aren't as effective. Like I said, I might not have put enough time in it, but I always lean the classes that can take a bigger beating and can take kill more, because that's the way you get more gold, because by killing monsters and living longer, therefore you can access all the rooms and be able to do things. But with the small things like mages, a slip up onto a spike is so much more deadly than it is if you're a Viking. So I don't know, that's the thing, like I don't know if there's maybe I just haven't got to a stage in which the upgrades really make it so each class is stand up about them, of their own, and they're all thing. Because at the moment, so for example, like I've upgraded. If you upgrade the Viking, he gets like a parody of Skyrim. You get a Frithrodar or a Durofus or something. They've renamed it. And with that sort of thing, you knock back every enemy on the screen. But with the mage, you get to cycle your spells. And it's always in that way, well, if you know you like one spell, you're always going to use that one. And it's hard in which, like, a lot of the spells are literally like throwing projectiles. Some of which will just bounce around the room, which is quite, it can be quite unreliable. One's just like a straight line one, one's like an arc sort of thing. So that, I mean, there are different situations in which they work, but it takes a lot more strategy than just going up and bonking them. And I think this game, not complaining, but I don't know, it's just, I could spend my time going, how could I get this the right way? Oh, I could go bonk, 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 dead. And, have my gold sort of thing. The game is definitely quite true to its name as Rogue Legacy. Because you have to play, you can't just go, the thing, like, level 1, first time you play the game, you can get to the boss room, you can be lucky enough to find it, but you will get absolutely demolished. It's that sort of thing where it keeps you playing so much in the first area, and I'm assuming it's going to be, pardon me, along the rest of the stages where you have to keep playing to sort of get to that stage, so you can actually fight the boss sort of thing. So it's essentially a grind, and sometimes you can get really successful runs in which everything just goes fabulously, and there's all these little like rooms with like fairy chests. But one thing I noticed about some of the fairy chests is sometimes you just physically can't do them unless you have the right class sort of thing. So there's this architect which will lock a building down and allow you to sort of redo a dungeon that you've just done. So you can, if you forget sort of thing, you can just always go back, but the gold that you might get might be random sort of thing. So you might not always get the same amount of gold as you did previously. And they always sort of recommend that you should try and like lock the building down, but he takes a bit of your gold each time. So even if you do get the same amount of gold, you get less, and therefore you have to get more gold to get the same amount sort of thing. So sure, you might be able to get the fairy which gives you runes, and which is another thing to buy. You have to buy armor, you have to buy runes, you have to buy all these upgrades for your castle and your characters, and there's just a lot to buy. And I've enjoyed the game. I don't know if I'm ever going to reach the end of it. I don't, because I think it requires a lot of time dedication. I just don't know if I can go through that, because I'll give it every so often. I might play for half an hour, get a little bit further, get a little gold, buy an upgrade or two, but it's really hard. It's really hard to sort of assess progress in that game, because it does feel like you're doing the same area again and again. And for me, it's got to that stage in which it is randomly generated, but they do use the same rooms each time, and it's just the way they're sort of connected sort of thing. And I've identified a few rooms which have been like, oh, okay, well this is this room again. Okay, I'll just go. But like I said, you can't expect it to be foreverly generating, and I must admit those times are quite rare. Each time is always a unique experience. But all in all, would I recommend Rogue Legacy? If you like platformers, yes. God, this is a really bad recommendation. But if, like I said, if I was, let's say, if I was one of the developers of Rogue Legacy, working at Celador Games, what would I have done differently? And I would have thought, I don't know, maybe some element of followers? I know it's just kind of hard to say, but maybe like make it easier on yourself by, instead of going in one person at a time, you can take in maybe more than one, and maybe have, I don't know, maybe some sort of penalty for taking in more than one, but then have that sort of thing where you can go through and cycle through maybe all the classes at once. Have like, I don't know, 4. You have a party of 4, and you just go through the thing, and each time one dies, you can just switch out to another one, and each one has like aura effects that they can help, and that way you can still like increase the difficulty, but then you have so many more ways to tackle it at once sort of thing. And chances are, with 4 characters, you're going to blitz through those pretty quickly into some of the really tough areas. But that's just what, that's something that I could see maybe working. I don't know. Just an idea that I just came up with. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this week. A little bit late than always, but, pshaw. But this has been MrMatchat. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!